Zephyr was an alien medic from a faraway planet called Vortexia. His people were advanced and proud of their technology. They had many machines that could heal injuries and cure diseases quickly. But Zephyr was curious. He wanted to learn about the humans on Earth. He had heard stories about their bravery and kindness, and he was eager to see it for himself. When Zephyr's spaceship landed on Earth, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The bright blue sky and green trees were unlike anything he had seen before. He stepped out of the ship and took a deep breath. The air smelled fresh and alive. He was ready to learn. The first place Zephyr went was a big conference about medicine. Many humans had gathered there, sharing their knowledge and skills. As he walked through the hall, he saw groups of doctors and nurses talking passionately. They were discussing new ways to save lives and help the sick. Zephyr felt inspired by their energy. As the conference began, a human named Dr. Sarah took the stage. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and bright eyes. She spoke about a recent disaster where her team saved many lives. Zephyr listened closely, fascinated by her stories of courage. She talked about how every second counted in an emergency and how teamwork was vital to success. After her talk, Zephyr had the chance to meet Dr. Sarah. He introduced himself and explained that he was from Vortexia. She smiled and welcomed him, eager to share more about human medicine. They talked about their different worlds and how they both wanted to help people. Zephyr felt a strong connection to her. Later, during a demonstration, Zephyr watched as Dr. Sarah led her team through a practice drill. They pretended to respond to a massive earthquake. The humans rushed in, helping the injured with speed and care. Zephyr was amazed at how they worked together, communicating without hesitation. They lifted people on stretchers, bandaged wounds, and provided comfort to the scared victims. Suddenly, the drill became more intense. One of the volunteers fell and pretended to be unconscious. Dr. Sarah and her team sprang into action. Zephyr's heart raced as he watched. He felt the urge to help, but he was unsure. He had learned many advanced techniques back on Vortexia, but would they be useful here? Dr. Sarah reached the fallen volunteer first. She checked for breathing, and then she started chest compressions. The other medics quickly joined her, creating a rhythm that seemed to echo throughout the room. Zephyr could see the focus on their faces. They were determined to save this person. The scene was powerful. Zephyr felt a deep respect for these humans. They did not hesitate. They did not think of themselves. They only thought of saving a life. In that moment, Zephyr realized something important. Humans had a unique strength. Their ability to care for each other, to work together, and to show compassion was unlike anything he had ever seen. As the demonstration ended, Zephyr approached Dr. Sarah again. "You are very brave," he said sincerely. "I have never seen anyone work like that before." She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "Thank you, Zephyr. It takes practice and a lot of heart, but anyone can learn." Zephyr felt a warmth in his chest. He began to wonder if he wanted to stay on Earth longer. He had come to learn, but now he wanted to be a part of this world. The humans were different from his people, but they shared a common goal to help others. As the conference continued, Zephyr felt more excited about what he would learn. He was ready to dive into the world of human medicine. Little did he know that this choice would change his life forever. The sun was shining brightly in the sky as Zephyr walked through the bustling city streets of Earth. He felt excited and nervous. Everything was new to him. The sounds of honking cars, laughing children, and chattering people filled the air. He was eager to learn more about humans and how they lived. As he wandered, he noticed a small park nearby. Families were enjoying picnics, and children were playing games. Zephyr smiled, feeling the joy around him. He sat on a bench, watching the scene unfold. Just then, a loud crash echoed through the air, shattering the peaceful moment. Zephyr's heart raced as he turned to see a terrible accident. A car had collided with a bus, and people were trapped inside. He felt a surge of adrenaline. He had to help! He quickly got up and ran towards the chaos. As he approached, he saw the panic on people's faces. Some were crying, while others were trying to help but didn't know what to do. When he reached the scene, he immediately assessed the situation. He noticed that the bus driver was unconscious behind the wheel. A group of brave humans was trying to pull him out but was struggling. Zephyr could not stand by and watch. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. Zephyr took a deep breath. "I received a message from my people. They want me to return to Vortexia. They are offering me a high position because of my experiences here." Dr. Sarah's expression changed slightly. That sounds like a great opportunity. Why do you seem worried? Zephyr hesitated. I do not want to leave. I feel like I belong here helping people. But I also do not want to disappoint my people. They have high expectations of me. Dr. Sarah nodded, understanding his struggle. It's a tough choice, Zephyr. But what do you really want? What makes you happy? He thought about her question. He remembered the joy he felt while helping the injured after the bus crash. He felt a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. I want to save lives, he admitted. I want to be part of this team and learn from humans. You all have a special way of caring for each other. Dr. Sarah smiled softly. That's what makes you a great medic, Zephyr. It's not about the title or the praise. It's about the lives you touch and the people you help. Your happiness matters. Her words echoed in his mind. He realized that this choice was not just about him. It was about how he could make a difference in the world. He looked into Dr. Sarah's eyes filled with warmth and understanding. He felt a strong connection to her and the team he had worked with. I think I want to stay, Zephyr said finally, a sense of clarity washing over him. I want to learn more about human medicine and help wherever I can. Dr. Sarah beamed at him. That's wonderful, Zephyr. We would love to have you here. You've already made a huge impact. Just then, Zephyr's communicator beeped. He glanced at it, seeing a message from his superiors, reminding him of the deadline to accept the offer. His heart sank slightly. He knew he had to respond soon. Whatever you decide, it will be the right choice, Dr. Sarah said gently. Just remember that your happiness is important. Zephyr took her words to heart. He felt the weight of the decision lifting. The thought of going back to Vortexia with all its glory now felt distant. He had found a new purpose on Earth, and that felt more valuable than any title or position. With renewed determination, Zephyr made up his mind. He would choose to stay on Earth, to be a part of something bigger than himself. As he left the hospital, he felt lighter and more certain than ever. He was ready to embrace his new life, where he could save lives and build lasting connections with the humans he admired. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready for the challenge. After all, sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most rewarding paths. With his decision made, Zephyr felt a wave of relief wash over him. He was excited to stay on Earth and help save lives alongside Dr. Sarah and the rest of the team. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Zephyr adjusted to his new life as a medic in the hospital. Every day brought new challenges and opportunities to learn. At first, Zephyr struggled with some of the human medical practices. The equipment was different from what he was used to on Vortexia, and the terminology was sometimes confusing. But he was determined to improve. Dr. Sarah and her colleagues patiently guided him, explaining each step and sharing their experiences. Their support made him feel welcomed and valued. One day, while on duty in the emergency room, a new patient was brought in. A young boy had fallen from his bicycle and had a deep cut on his arm. Zephyr rushed to assist, his heart racing. He had seen injuries like this before, but had never treated one himself. As he prepared to help, he felt a familiar mix of excitement and anxiety. Zephyr, can you clean the wound and prepare the stitches? Dr. Sarah instructed, her voice calm and steady. Yes, I can do that, he replied, trying to sound confident. He grabbed the antiseptic and cotton swabs, carefully cleaning the boy's arm. The child winced but stayed brave, his eyes wide with fear. As Zephyr worked, he spoke gently to the boy. You are very strong. This will only hurt a little bit. He remembered how important it was to comfort patients, something he learned from Dr. Sarah. The boy nodded, gripping his mother's hand tightly. Once the wound was cleaned, Zephyr prepared the stitches. His hands were steady, and he focused on each movement. He could feel the eyes of the medical team on him, but he blocked out the pressure. This was his chance to prove himself. He remembered why he was there, to help and heal. After finishing the stitches, Zephyr stepped back and smiled. All done. You did very well. He looked at the boy, who now seemed a little less scared. Thank you, Mr. Alien, the boy exclaimed, grinning despite the pain. Zephyr laughed, feeling a rush of happiness. Just Zephyr is fine, he said, his heart swelling with pride. In that moment, he realized he was finally finding his purpose. He was not just an alien medic, he was a healer, and his skills were making a difference in the lives of others. As days turned into weeks, Zephyr became more confident in his abilities. He learned to work alongside the other medics, responding to emergencies and treating patients with various injuries. Each successful case filled him with joy and a sense of accomplishment. He was no longer just an outsider. He had become part of a community that cared for one another. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, Zephyr sat with Dr. Sarah and the team for dinner. They shared stories and laughter, and Zephyr felt grateful to be included in their lives. "I never thought I would find a place like this," he confessed. "Back home, it was all about status and titles. Here it feels different. It feels real." Dr. Sarah nodded, understanding his feelings. "That's what makes our work special. We are a team, and we support each other. It's not about being the best. It's about being there for one another." Zephyr smiled, realizing that he had found a new family on Earth. This was what he had longed for, connection and purpose. He looked forward to each day, eager to learn more and help those in need. However, the reality of his situation still lingered. He had not forgotten about Vortexia or the message from his superiors. They were likely waiting for his response. But now, he felt more confident in his decision to stay on Earth. The work he was doing was meaningful, and he had discovered a sense of fulfillment he never thought possible. One afternoon, while organizing supplies in the hospital, Zephyr received a message from Vortexia. It was a reminder to accept the high-ranking position they had offered him. He felt a pang of anxiety as he read the words. Would he be able to turn them down? The thought of returning to a life of prestige and recognition was tempting, but it no longer held the same appeal. Zephyr took a deep breath and decided it was time to respond. He typed out a message, explaining his choice to stay on Earth and help the people he had grown to care for. After hitting send, he felt a wave of relief. He was ready to embrace his new purpose, no matter where it led him. With each passing day, Zephyr grew more certain that he belonged on Earth. He was not just a medic from another planet. He was part of a team united in their mission to save lives. And in that connection, he had truly found his purpose. As the weeks passed, Zephyr settled into his new life on Earth. The hospital felt like home, and his bond with Dr. Sarah and the team grew stronger every day. He was now more than just an alien medic. He was a trusted friend and a vital part of the medical team. Each day brought new challenges, but with them came new opportunities to learn and grow. One morning, Zephyr arrived early to prepare for the day ahead. He loved the quiet hours before the hospital became busy. He organized medical supplies and made sure everything was ready for the first patients. This routine helped him feel grounded and focused. Dr. Sarah walked in, her coffee in hand. "Good morning, Zephyr. Ready for another busy day?" she asked with a smile. "Good morning." "Yes, I am ready," Zephyr replied, feeling excited. He had been practicing more procedures and was eager to put his skills to the test. As the day went on, the emergency room filled with patients. Zephyr and the team worked tirelessly, treating everything from minor cuts to serious injuries. He felt the adrenaline rush with each case. He thrived on the energy of the busy environment, and each successful treatment made him feel proud. During a lull in activity, Zephyr found a moment to catch his breath. He sat in the break room sipping water when Dr. Sarah joined him. "You've been doing amazing work, Zephyr. The team really appreciates your dedication," she said, her eyes shining with pride. "Thank you, Dr. Sarah. I am learning so much from everyone here." "It feels good to help," he replied, feeling a sense of fulfillment. Later that day, the hospital received news of a local disaster. A building had collapsed, and many people were injured. Zephyr felt his heart race as the team prepared for the emergency. This was their chance to make a real difference. When they arrived at the scene, chaos surrounded them. Emergency vehicles blared their sirens, and the air was filled with dust and smoke. Zephyr's hands trembled slightly, but he remembered his training. He had faced challenges before, and he was ready to help. "Zephyr, stay close to me," Dr. Sarah instructed, her voice steady despite the chaos. Together, they navigated through the debris, assessing the situation. They found several victims, trapped but conscious, calling for help. "Can you help me?" a young woman cried out, her voice filled with fear. Zephyr rushed to her side, kneeling beside her. "Don't worry, we are here to help," he assured her, using his training to comfort her. He examined her injuries, a deep cut on her leg. "I will take care of you." As he worked, he felt the energy of the team around him. Medics were moving swiftly, providing aid to others. Zephyr's heart swelled with pride as he realized they were all in this together. With Dr. Sarah's guidance, Zephyr bandaged the woman's leg and prepared to lift her out. "On the count of 3, we will move you, okay?" he said gently. She nodded, trust filling her eyes. 1, 2, 3! Together, they lifted her to safety. Zephyr felt a rush of relief as they moved her to the waiting ambulance. She was safe now, and he had played a part in that. After hours of hard work, the team finally wrapped up the rescue effort. Zephyr was exhausted but exhilarated. He had faced one of the toughest challenges of his career, and he had succeeded. As they returned to the hospital, Zephyr felt a deep sense of belonging. He knew that this was where he was meant to be. Helping others gave him joy, and he realized he had found a new family among his colleagues. Days turned into weeks, and Zephyr continued to learn and grow. He even started sharing aspects of Vortexian medicine with his team, blending their knowledge with human practices. This collaboration created new methods that improved patient care. One evening, as they celebrated a successful month at the hospital, Zephyr stood before his colleagues, his heart full of gratitude. "I want to thank all of you. You welcomed me into your world, and I have found my home here. Together, we are making a difference." The room erupted in applause, and Dr. Sarah beamed with pride. "You've become an essential part of our team, Zephyr. We are grateful for you." Zephyr smiled, feeling a sense of warmth. This was more than just a job. It was a new life filled with purpose, friendship, and compassion. He had chosen Earth, and it had chosen him back. As he looked around at the people he had come to love, he realized he would never return to Vortexia. His place was here among these incredible humans. Together, they were creating a brighter future, one life at a time. Zephyr felt fulfilled, knowing he had found his true calling. With every patient he helped, he embraced his new life, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. He was no longer just an alien medic. He was a hero in his own right, living his dream on Earth.